Hey, what's up, players? So this is a series that I am starting called Room Ramble. How it works is that while I'm streaming and in the training room, I'll just talk about different stuff while I'm either waiting in queue, trying to practice a B&B combo, or just chilling in the training room. Kind of brings me back to when I used to just play fighting games by myself. I would usually just hang out in the training room and just think about stuff. This is something that I hope to keep going for a while. We'll see how it goes. And before we get into the rest of the video, yes, I did get a haircut, but the VOD is going to be from before I got a haircut, so hair jump scare. Anyway, please enjoy. For long-time viewers who know Scoop, he's doing a Bible study with someone that's been coming out, and he invited me to hop in on the study. I'm excited. I'm honestly a little bit nervous because it's been a while since I have been a part of a Bible study, and it's not even like it's something that I don't want to do. Like I love being a part of Bible studies, and it's so cool, you know, just seeing the process or the progress of, you know, someone going through the scriptures and things start to click. They start to understand stuff that they didn't understand before. It's really cool. So it's not like I never wanted to be a part of a Bible study. It's just that it honestly really isn't an excuse. Just lack of time made it hard to find the time to hop in on Bible studies. And there is that part when you do study with someone, and you know, for whatever reason they decide I'm good, they walk away for whatever reason. It could be challenging not to take it personal, and obviously you shouldn't take it personal, because all you're really doing is just, you know, all you're doing is you're opening the Bible up to someone, going through it. So it's not as if people are rejecting you. It's Jesus that, you know, they're rejecting or not willing to follow. It has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with myself. That's honestly, it's taken a long time to accept that. It's absolutely true. The wonderful thing about God is that no one is forced to follow him. No, everyone has a choice to decide to follow him or not. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to being a part of this Bible study. I hope that the guy gets a lot out of it. I pray that he's really impacted and that he wants to continue the studies, and that for God, that he really just speaks for us. Like, let's not come in with just like our opinions or what we think, what we feel, but really just go back to the majority of the study comes from the Bible. It's a Bible study. Pray that goes well. So something that happened over the weekend was that my wife and I went to Wisconsin for our church's marriage retreat, and it was the first time that my wife and I have gone to a marriage retreat, and it was really cool. We got to go to Delavan, Wisconsin, which was not too far from Lake Geneva, but we both got a lot out of it. Okay, I did take some notes. I'll jump to Galatians 6:7-8. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, he will also reap. For he who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. So the whole concept of sowing and reaping, when it comes to marriage, it is highly important to sow seeds of love and grace with your spouse. You know, it's important to sow those seeds of love and grace. It only makes whenever you may run into a disagreement with your spouse, or, you know, you may run into trouble, that you can draw upon that love and grace that you've already have been growing. Another thing that's important in marriage is to honor the giver. The giver obviously being God. God gave us our spouses. Like, my wife is literally a gift from God. I did absolutely nothing to win her, to earn her. Yeah, I don't deserve her at all. That's really just like the thing that we go into with any of our spouse, with any of our relationships, is that we don't deserve the person that God put in our lives. So it's really important to give thanks to God for our marriages. And one of the ways that we thank God for our marriages is to really lean onto the strengths that your spouse can give to overcome the weakness that we have. The funny thing about marriage is that you're taking two people that are completely different, come together to be unified. That unity doesn't mean that you just completely you're just morphing into one thing. Like, you're still two individual people, their own sins, different backgrounds, stuff like that, different ways of thinking, different upbringing. Just taking two completely different people and then come together. For me, there are things that I am able to do, I would say, better, or that comes more easier for me compared to my spouse. And my wife, there's things that she can do that I can't fathom. Like, I cannot do it. Like, when it comes to organizing a trip, she is the go-to person for that. I cannot organize. I can organize other things, but trying to plan a trip, that is like, I'm so weak in that area. And there's so many other areas that I'm like not that good at. But a really great way to honor God and to give him thanks for our marriages is to really lean into what the things that your spouse is good at, because it covers the things that we're short in. It kind of reminds me of God. Being real with y'all, I don't like asking for help. I would very much like to do everything that I can, but God's like, no, you gotta come to me. So me having to come to my spouse, come to my wife for things that I'm not good at, it's humbling. It's really humbling. Something that I'm not sure is really talked about too much, or maybe it is and I just haven't been really seeing it, is making the transition to playing Street Fighter. So a little bit of background is that I started with 3D fighting games and Smash. Earliest fighting game memory is Virtua Fighter 2, and then I played a lot of Smash Brothers from Melee up, and that was like my competitive game. Like, I would play other fighting games here and there, but like during the 2000s in particular, like 3D fighting games and Smash were my go-tos. And the thing is that with a lot of 3D fighting games, outside certain characters, this is probably going to be the case for a lot of games. Outside certain characters, you don't have to do complex motions. Maybe the most complex you'll have is to do a quarter circle forward, but for the most part, a lot of stuff is just directional and you're just doing strings, which is something that I can wrap my head around. And then with Smash, input is really simple. It's just up, side, neutral, down, and then your A or your B special, and then you just string them together to form your combos. And then with Smash, the whole goal is to knock people out of the ring. Making the move to Street Fighter has been such a hard task for me. I always found it weird because like I could play stuff like Blaze Blue and other anime games, but the thing is, in those games you can just mash. But something that really took me a long time to get used to in Street Fighter is stuff is link based. So yeah, you have target combos like this, but really a lot of your combos just come from chaining stuff together by waiting for the animation to end, and that's so hard for me. But what's even harder is trying to do different motion inputs. Trying to do a consistent DP, I could do it in training mode totally fine, but trying to do it in the heat of a match, I am constantly fumbling. Coming from Smash and then coming from like 3D fighter games like Virtua Fighter, something that it's really been a tough transition for me is learning that delaying stuff doesn't work. Delaying stuff is just dropping combos, and a drop combo means something like a DI or an invincible reversal, whereas intentionally leaving gaps or intentionally doing like delaying your attacks in like Smash or Virtua Fighter, it's more of a mix-up, or it's more of a mind game than anything. I legit did not understand the concept of hit confirms until I started playing Street Fighter. The first Street Fighter I played was Street Fighter Super Street Fighter 2 HD Turbo Remix. If I actually managed to get that name without looking it up, yay me. Doing something like this and not having enough time to confirm if it hit or not, just do the input, that was like a foreign concept for me. Doing core circle forward, but this way is absolutely killing me. Like, I know that there are shortcuts for leverless, but I've always been hesitant to really rely on them too much, because the thing is, some shortcuts are game specific. Street Fighter 6 in particular has a lot of lax inputs where certain things just work just for how the input reader is, but won't work in KOF 15 or a lot of just SNK games. And so like the thing that I'm concerned about is learning certain shortcuts, but it be a shortcut that's not universal, that doesn't carry over to other games. So then I have a momentary lapse where if I switch a game, I don't know how to do the proper input because I've been so used to doing the shortcut for, say, Street Fighter 6. So for years, my go-to controller was this Sega Saturn style 6-button controller. So before this, I would play on a PlayStation 3 controller. That was not fun because I hated the triggers, and my triggers were specifically my L2 and R2 triggers were always broken. I swear, the PlayStation 3 buttons did not feel like those were built to last. So I technically started on that, and then of course with Smash, GameCube, I was always GameCube. But then once I wanted to sort of take fighting games a little bit more seriously, but I did not want to make the jump to stick because I didn't want to try too hard or whatever. That's when I got this, which was actually felt nice. Be able to have the buttons all laid out like this, especially for something like Street Fighter, which it is a 6-button fighter. So it felt nice. I actually have something like this, 8-bit Do M30 Xbox edition, which is a little bit more universal for modern systems. I've played fighting games on pad, played on stick, starting in 2020. Now, most recently I play on leverless. I think I prefer leverless the most. The only downside with pad, even though I started with pad, and honestly I could still play pad if I wanted to, especially since it's just so easy to carry. Since everything is thumb based, my thumb can just slip because the D-pad is more precise than say a PlayStation or Xbox stock controller, but like it's far more precise. But there's still times where like I accidentally jump when I did not mean to jump. I do think pad is great and still has merit. I just find I like playing leverless a lot. It gives me a lot of space, allows my fingers to be all spread out, and I can use my individual fingers while not hurting my wrist like I had when I played on stick. Maybe I was just using the stick raw. Maybe it's one of those things where you do it, the more times you do it, the more you get used to it. I just like the form factor of the leverless. And that concludes the first ever Training Room Ramble. Hopefully there will be more to come. If you're looking for a non-denominational church, down in the description below will be a link to a church locator. Also down below will be a link to 2 Discords, my Discord and a Discord to the Christian Fighting Game Community Discord. If you like this video and you want to see more, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more fighting game content, platformers, JRPGs, Christianity, and the like. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Take care. Until next time, GG, GB, peace.